great. All go, no wait. Champion, no debate. First place, go play. Humble.
Yo, what's going on? It's your boy, Mr. Humble Greatness in the building, and I have another very special guest with me on another episode of Humble Talks, man. His name is Darnell Bryant, but I'm going to go ahead and just kind of let him introduce himself just a little bit. Go. Who we got?
Yeah,
Who we got?
For sure. What's going on, man? What's popping? It's my name's Darnell Bryant. I'm a West Coast guy. I'm a city pastor. I also work for the local homeless shelter, man. I just got a heart for people, man. I got a heart for people.
Ooh, that's powerful. We're going to get all up in there, man. We're going to get to it. So let me ask you this, man. First question right off the bat. Let's talk about, for the people who don't know you, right?
Yeah.
Let's talk about you growing up, man.
For sure,
What's the home? Because you already started off by saying you do all this, you do community work and stuff like that. So let's start off from Lil Darnell.
For sure. Yeah, so that's good. So I grew up in born and raised California, grew up in Denver, Colorado, first 10 years of my life. So I'm a Broncos fan, and so people really don't get
Terrell Davis days, right?
Terrell Davis. Well, really the John Elway, Three Amigos days, you know what I mean?
Man,
Orange Crush. I go all the way back, right? So people don't get it. They're like, man, you're not a Raiders fan or a Niners fan. I'm like, nah, man, I represent the Broncos.
So that's like Steve Atwater days.
Atwater days, man. I got his Hall of Fame jersey in my office.
Come on, man. For y'all who don't know, if he played nowadays, he would have all the penalties every play.
For real. Yeah, because he's headhunting. He's gonna hurt somebody. Yeah,
that's what's up.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you grew up in Denver, Colorado for 10 years.
For 10 years.
Okay.
And then we transitioned and moved to Billings, Montana. Imagine this, man. I'm from Cali, and I'm in these cold
culture shock all day.
It's all day long. You know what I mean? But it's God's plan, God's purpose in it. So I ended up moving to Billings, Montana for 2 years.
Okay.
And then we moved back to Cali. Yeah.
Okay, so how'd you get here?
Yeah, man. The Lord brought me here, man.
Okay.
You know, I was down and out and in a position in my life where I thought I had some answers, right? And so
like we all do, right?
Yep. Like we all do.
We think we know what's going on. We really don't.
Right. So I thought I was driving and found myself here in Kansas. Clicked my heels twice like Dorothy, and here I am, right, in the land of Oz. And I'm smack dab in God's purpose and God's will for my life.
Ooh, that's powerful. Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. So then when you get out, how old are you when you're here in Kansas?
So I came here when I was 22.
Okay, so you were 22.
Mm-hmm.
So then what were we doing, like job-wise, like career-wise?
Bro, I was hurting. I wasn't doing anything. I was just a young knucklehead.
Okay.
I got a PhD in thugology.
Let's go.
Yeah, I got that PhD.
Certified
stamp. I could tell you everything you need to know forward and backwards.
Understood. Let me ask you this. So does that lifestyle come from, like, we're bouncing around? Are we bouncing around due to getting kicked out of school? Are we bouncing around due to?
Yeah. So we're bouncing around just basically just coming from an urban environment where you got a single parent home, you got drug abuse and everything else, and growing up living with grandma, playing sports and everything else like that, right?
Gotcha.
And so, women, alcohol and substance abuse.
The whole nine.
Yeah, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So then you're here, boom, you say you weren't really doing nothing. So what's your first job out here?
Yeah, my first job. That's so funny.
You don't have to say the name of it if you don't want to.
You're good. So the first job I had out here, I started off taking care of people that couldn't take care of themselves.
So a caregiver?
Like a caregiver. Right.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm changing beds and bedding and diapers, and cleaning up bathrooms and whatnot.
Got you.
Yeah.
That's already starting off with
you
a
already
servant
know.
heart.
Yeah,
the Lord's working on you early.
You already know.
And you have no idea.
I have no idea. I want nothing to do with God, but He's like, let me show you through a way you can understand.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then when did you start really getting involved in church?
Yeah, so 2005, bro. I ended up getting locked up. And, that's when
How old were you when that happened?
So I was.
You can do a range of.
Yeah, I'm about 25.
Okay, I got you.
About 25 years old.
Okay.
And get locked up on a probation violation. And man, I ended up getting saved. But my biggest fear in jail. Yeah.
So who was the person?
Yeah, man.
Who reached out?
Yeah,
because that's a big deal.
It is a big deal. So at that point, I was like, man, I'm tired. I know there's something more.
Okay.
And so I'm sitting at the table and I just grab a Bible and a white dude pull up behind me like, man, what you doing? I'm like, bro, I'm about to get in this word. Neither one of us knew what we was doing. But the dude
Is the white dude like your cellmate?
Nah, man. So we're in a dorm style. My bad.
Okay.
Yeah, we're in a dorm
Okay.
style. A low grade far as like offenses.
Yeah.
So that, you know, they would normally put you in a dorm. And so like
Okay.
52 of us in the dorm and we're just like in a little day room. Yeah. So
52.
52 of
No
us.
privacy.
No privacy.
Just
yeah,
there.
You sitting and sleeping next to dudes burping, farting, and you know what I mean, snoring the whole 9 yards. Yeah. So we're at the
Man.
table, bro, trying to get into the word. Don't know where to begin. So we just like, let's start in Genesis. You know what I mean?
The very beginning.
Yeah,
Let's
we don't
go.
know when we getting out, so we just gonna start at the beginning. And there's an old school brother peeping game from afar. You know what I mean? And so he gives us probably about an hour or so, and he walks by. He asks us, "Do we know what we're doing?" And I straight up told him no. And he was like, man, read the book of John, first chapter, first verse. Stop right there. I don't want you to do more than that. And tell me what God tells you. He says, if you answer this right, then I'll work with you. Straight up. I'm just like, right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
we got nothing else to do. So,
nothing else to do. So I'm about to just break this down.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I just concluded that Jesus is God. Straight up.
Got you. Okay.
Yeah. And he was like, bet. And so he walked with us. Well, he walked with me in that process.
Do you remember his background?
Yeah, I know him, man. He's one of the homies.
Does he live here?
He lives here in Wichita.
Still?
Man. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. He's my guy, man. Old school brother.
So you guys still talk?
We talk, yeah. We haven't talked in a minute, but yeah, we.
But
still
you can
talk.
reach him if you need to.
Yeah. He could reach out. We can connect. Yeah, he's my guy. You know what I mean? And so, he led me to the Lord. Led me to the Lord. Taught me how to play chess, and you know, I've always had an old soul, so I gravitated towards people that was older. So it was easy for us to click and link up like that.
So when you guys start studying the word, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is this like your best friend? Or is he just somebody who?
He's just somebody that's cool, that I'm cool with.
Okay, I got
he's
you.
a friend.
I got you.
He's a friend.
Okay.
And then I don't have many friends.
Come on, man. I don't either, bro.
Yeah.
They're hard to find.
They're hard to find, man.
Hard to find.
That's true.
Man, okay. So then that happened. So then we get out. How long were you locked up for?
So I was locked up for probably like 48 days.
Okay.
You know, a little 30-day violation.
Come on, man.
Some things happened.
Time is time at the end of the day.
Brother, that's how I,
don't
knew
care if you
48
spent 24
days.
hours.
Man, come on, bro.
48 hours,
Right.
50 years, time is time.
That's true. Can't get it back.
So then you get out,
Mm-hmm.
and then what happens?
I get out, man, and I had no home church. You know,
Okay.
I had no accountability, no community, and so I'm just doing what I know. You know,
Yeah.
I know I need to read the word, but my flesh also know that it's used to 25 years of wanting to do what it do.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so it was easy to go back to doing what I was doing previously to getting locked up.
Okay. So then do we get caught? Do we go back to jail? What's
Yeah.
the
So,
oh man. Okay.
in high school, I started dabbling with weed. You know what I mean? And it just was a gateway for other drugs and alcohol.
For
And so once I got saved, I was like, all right, Lord, I'm gonna put everything down, but I'm still gonna smoke.
Yeah,
you know
come
what
on,
I mean?
man. That's hard.
It is.
That's
hard.
tough to give up.
It is, bro.
That's tough to give up.
And there's so many lies and so much entanglement that's attached to it.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And at the same time, I always stay connected to the culture, and you know, I just want to be relevant and fresh. You know what I mean?
Yeah, come on, man.
And so, you know, a brother blaze up a couple blunts, and he's just like,
man.
yeah, my life is a music video.
Yeah, come on, man. Yeah, you right.
Yeah, for sure.
You're right.
And so it was easy. It was the deception and the bondage of that, you know, that yes, my spirit was willing, but my flesh was weak because all my flesh knows is sin.
Yeah,
Right.
he talking deep, man.
Yeah.
We
could go there anytime you want to. I'm just gonna
talking
keep
deep.
dropping nuggets here and
love
there.
it. I love it.
Yeah. And so I get back out, man. And at the time, I never forget. I'm gonna hit you with this quick story. Hit y'all with this quick story. I get out, and God allows us to experience things to grow our faith.
Absolutely.
And so I've been locked up 48 days with this chick who was a hustler. And so she found a way to pay rent, but I was the primary breadwinner.
Yeah.
And
understood.
so I get out, and, you know, we're 48 days in the hole as far as bills. And so that's back when The radio station was what, 93.9?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a 93.9.
Before it switched over to what it is now. So I don't know. It used to be 93.9. Now it's 93.5.
Yeah. And so the Hitman and everybody had their little cash giveaways. And I'm praying before one of the cash giveaways, and my chick call in at the time, and we mess around and hit that $1,000 cash
Stop
giveaway.
it.
Bro, God is like, yeah, I know how to grow you and show you what you need to know.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so that right there was like one of those altars in my life where I could go back and say, God, you met me there. I know you were real because you met me there.
Yeah.
Right.
Sure.
So fast forward, it took me 2, 3, 4 more times and becoming homeless to really say, okay, God, I'm serious about this.
Come on, man. Yeah.
Right.
For sure.
But there's altars in my life that I could go back and trace and say, yeah, God met me there.
That's dope.
For sure. That's for y'all that don't believe in the Old Testament.
So then we going to fast forward that. So right now you said you're deeply involved in the community.
Yeah.
So when did that really start for you?
So I'm going to say this because I think this is important for people to know.
Okay.
It's easy to be on an outward type of focus to impress people or to really give yourself comfort in what you do.
Absolutely.
But it's always a heart condition for me. And I never forget, bro, I was about maybe 11 or 12 years old.
Okay.
And I was in church, and it was a Valentine's Day.
Okay.
And the preacher was preaching on love.
Yeah.
And I don't remember anything else from his sermon, but all I know is that God is love, and love stuck, you know?
Wow. Okay.
And when I think about love, I think about real biblical love, self-sacrifice, and willing to give.
The servant.
Yeah,
come on,
willing
man.
to give up something, willing to help somebody that most people wouldn't help, right?
Understand.
And so I say that it started then when I was about 12, 13 years old, right?
Okay.
Right. And then it didn't manifest itself in a way where I could say I'm attached to an organization or this is what I do for the city, probably until about 2009 when I got involved in a church.
Oh, wow. Okay. So it was some time.
Oh, some time, yeah.
So then 2009, what happens?
So 2009, I just get out of work release.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
for sure. I'm going to keep it 1,000.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
man.
And so I just get out of work release, and my pastor, Dion Gates, shout out to my guy, Dion Gates.
Shout out to Mr. Pastor Gates, Dion Gates. We love you, bro.
Man, that dude is incredible. And so I heard that he was starting a church, and we used to go to Breakthrough Ministries together.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
And so my guy Darius, right? His dad was working at work release, and he was like, "Hey, you need to go check out Gates Church."
Okay.
So that's when I got plugged in. It was the first service, first day, and ended up going to Mending Place in 2009. Based on how
So
God
you were there
operated.
day one.
Day one. I was there before day.
This is the rec center.
This is the Osage Rec Center.
Osage, right?
Yeah.
Ooh,
Yes, sir.
okay.
Yeah.
Got you.
Yep.
So when you go there, like what's the, because a lot of people who are listening right now and tapping into this, they might even be wanting to go to church, but they're like, man, as soon as I step in, they're going to be looking at me. So like, what was your experience like? Talk about that.
Yeah. And so I was one of those people. So I get it. You know what I mean? We're very conscientious of ourselves and our surroundings. And so day one, when I walked in the Mending Place and knew it was for me, it was a low amount of people, which was cool for me, which is kind of like a oxymoron because I'm a city guy and I love being around thousands and hundreds of thousands of people.
Come on, man. Yeah,
but I also can get down with a few, you know what I mean, to meet people on their level where they're at. So it was a low amount of people. And people was just dressed casual and everybody was friendly. And so I'm like, yeah. And so if you're looking for a church or if you're trying to figure out, hey, what kind of criteria do I have? You need to set a criteria, you know what I mean? And then follow through on whatever your needs are.
I always told people that church is like dating. Like that's how I feel like it is.
Yeah.
You have to go until you find the one that works for you.
Right.
That's
it. People have an issue with that because religion says that I got to go to my mom's church or my grandma's church. And, you know, and it's a thing. I love the church. I'm not knocking no church, but I'm knocking this tradition or this religious mindset. If that church is stale and if that church ain't feeding you you cannot serve, you don't need to be there out of obligation. Because your obligation should be to the Lord, not to a brick building.
Ooh, come on, man.
Dropping nuggets. Yeah.
You're right.
That's it.
You're right. Especially, man, I feel like, well, let's just get to the basic part of just people's needs. People want to feel like they're needed, you know,
or loved.
Everybody has gifts and talents. So it's like, okay, if I'm a part of really anything in life, man, I want them to just, first of all, accept me for who I am.
Exactly.
And it's sad that a lot of people don't even get to that step when it comes to church. They don't even get to step one.
Right.
You know?
Right. Which means you don't have no foundation.
Come on,
Which means that you're probably not going to stick. You're not going to stay, and you're probably not going to grow.
Yeah.
Which is important. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Church is not designed for us to buy our pastor a Cadillac or a jet. But I do want to be clear. There's nothing wrong with pastors having Cadillacs and jets.
Hey, man, if that's what you need to move your ministry, then buy it. Man.
Amen. Because we serve a God that owns a universe.
Come on.
Or universes.
Come on.
Plural.
Come
right?
on, yeah.
And so if we say we are his servant, he's going to give us what we need. And what we want.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah. So I'm not knocking that, but I am knocking that mindset.
Yeah.
For sure.
I understand. So then when did you start going to Men in Place with Pastor Gates, right? When did you say, hey, man, I want to start serving?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it wasn't nothing. I don't think it was official. And that's what I appreciate about Mending Place.
Yeah.
Because everything was organic. You
Come
know what
on,
I mean?
man.
It happened
Yeah.
based on people's talents, strengths, abilities, and gifts. And so most churches, especially small churches, are heavy or lopsided when it comes to men and women ratio. And we had a lot of guys at the church when we first started. We was men heavy. And so we were mobile and portable. So we had to set up and tear down. And so I just jumped on opportunities to help out and serve where there was a need.
That's awesome.
What I mean?
Yeah.
And so I really didn't have to say, hey, I want to serve. I just served. Yeah.
Ooh, that's the Lord speaking to you, brother.
Come on.
That's what that is. Okay. So then Men in Place goes, and the reason why I know this next information is because I was a member at Men in Place
For sure.
for a long time.
For sure. Yeah.
So the Men in Place, man, we went through many different churches, right? And then we got established. When we get established, man, what does that change for you?
It changed a lot for me because from 2009 to about 2014, 15, I just had the opportunity to serve and to show my heart and gifts and talents. And as I humbled myself, God elevated me, right? And that's when God elevated me and solidified some calls to ministry and some things in my life. And so it was more stability. It was more of a long range goal and picture of this is where we want to use you.
Yeah.
And this is where we see God taking you to.
I got you.
Yeah.
So at this time, you go to when you start going to Mending Place, are you married or not married? Come on, you know I'm gonna hit that on the nose.
Yeah. You knocked that out the park. And so this is what's up, man. When I first started going to Mending Place, I'm gonna keep it 1,000.
Yeah.
I was engaged.
Okay.
But I was engaged to the wrong person.
Come on, man.
And so, yes, whoever is listening, sometimes in our flesh, we want to make things happen because we're tired of being in seasons. And so I was trying to force a square into a triangle. It just wasn't going to happen.
Yeah.
And there were so many signs and people were starting to see it, right? And so I'm engaged. We're doing YouTube worship videos because this is a church plant. We have no worship pastor or leader. And then God ends up bringing my wife on board probably a year later. And so a year later, my wife, who was my friend at the time, ended up joining the church. And through God's divine plan and orchestration, that unhealthy, toxic engagement broke off. And this is how God was in it that night that engagement broke off, my wife texts me like, "Hey, do you want to hang out sometime?" And that's back when we had those little flip phones.
Come on,
that
man.
You could slide up. Yeah.
Are you talking about the ones where you flip up and then you got to hit like?
Nah, I'm talking about
the sidekick.
The sidekick,
come
bro.
on, man.
Yeah, I had a sidekick.
Flip that screen up. Let's go.
Flip that screen up. So I flipped the screen up, and before I sent the text, I was like, to me, just based where I was at, based on just being tired of playing the field and playing, as far as dating, I looked at my text and I asked my wife, "Do you want to get married?" I was talking to the phone. Just I had to get it out.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of how I approached my situation with my wife. That year later,
I got you.
We ended up hanging out and dating, and 10 months later, we ended up getting married on 9/10/11.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's a unique date too. 9/10/11. Come on.
11.
He can't ever forget the anniversary, bro. You can't.
We did that on purpose.
That's awesome. So then all that happens. You said you work at the mission, man.
Yeah.
You gotta talk about that, man.
For sure.
Because there's a lot going on, and I really feel like people who say yes to that type of work, you really have to have a heart for people.
That's it. You do.
You do.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that. Let's talk about where you're at right now.
So right now I work at the Union Rescue Mission, Wichita, Kansas.
Got you.
Right. North or 2800 North Hillside.
Okay.
And so the facility is an old rest home. And so it's very conducive to what we do, wide doors and just a lot of space, right? Yeah. And so our mission statement, far as the staff is involved, is that we represent the love of Jesus while walking alongside people who experience homelessness, poverty, addiction, or other life challenges. And it's the gospel.
Come on,
and so
man.
that's how
Absolutely.
we articulate the gospel, right? And so
how long has it been around?
So this year we were going to celebrate 70 years.
70
Oh,
wow. Okay. Yeah.
Yes,
all right.
Yes.
Okay.
And so we started off downtown, moved from Douglas to St. Francis. When we first started, we only had 9 beds. Right now we got capacity for 224.
Ooh, growing.
Come
on.
And we're getting ready to move back downtown for our emergency overnight guest. Yes, and so we're going to have 2 facilities, and not only that, we're getting ready to branch off and start serving women and children. Yeah, so we're grinding. Yeah.
So right now you're just serving men.
Right now we primarily serve men.
Okay.
Once a week, every Thursday, we have something we call a diaper depot, and we give out formula and diapers to single moms or just to mothers that need it.
How busy are y'all?
So we stay busy.
Yeah,
people got to sign up in advance, and we also give out food boxes to the public. Yep.
And when is that? Every what?
That's every Thursday.
Wow.
Yep. So every Thursday, we do that. If you have an immediate need, just come holler at us.
Yeah, come on, man.
We're gonna make sure you walk away with something.
Let's go. Yeah, come on.
for sure. But there is a process, you know what I mean, and so people must sign up in advance. And so working at the mission, man, we're working with your craziest uncle.
Come on.
Right. Your craziest brother.
Yeah.
Right. That one daddy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or that broken part of you. Right.
Ooh,
and so we're working with all those different dimensions. Right. But at the end of the day, they're people, they're image bearers. Genesis 1:27, we're made in his image. Right.
Yeah.
And so they're image bearers, and that's how we treat them. We love on them. And in the process of loving on them, we're able to experience the love that God has for us in those places that are broken.
Come on, man. He dropping jewels.
Right. And so anytime we miss sight of that, we're missing sight of God's call and plan for our life.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Regardless of the situation.
So everybody who is in there is on some sort of program.
No. So
okay.
Yeah. So this is the layout. So we have a 30-day in, 30-day out policy.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Okay.
And that's for our overnight population. So before we created that policy, it was like 90 in, 90 out. And then before that policy, people were staying at the mission for years and having fat bank accounts. I'm talking about like 75 racks. 90 racks.
But just living there?
Just living at the mission. I lived at the mission for 20 years and I stacked all these checks.
See, and that's what I was thinking. I was like, okay, there has to be some sort of process to this.
For sure.
I understand. Okay.
Yeah. And so that's the overnight situation. And what we're really trying to do is encourage men on their time and God's time to get the necessary help that they need.
Yeah.
Right. And so our programs are designed from entry, lower level to more advanced. And so we have a program where you could come in. It's called Courage to Change, and the ball's in your court. And it's exactly how it sounds, right?
Okay.
And so it's a 30-day goal-setting program. And so if you're saying, hey, I could do this, I just need a little help, that's what we're going to do. We're going to provide case management. We're going to send you in job leads. We're going to help you with your bank account. We're going to pray with you. We're going to keep the discipleship process kind of light and copacetic.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we're going to be sensitive to the spirit moving, saying, hey, this guy needs a little bit more help. Right.
Yeah.
Or having grace for a guy that think he could do it on his own. Because, we all,
Come
as
on,
men,
man. That's men,
we think
man.
we can do it on our own.
Absolutely.
And we know we can't.
Yeah.
That's why God made us to help me. Amen.
Amen.
Yeah.
You're right.
And so that's the entry level program. We also have something called respite. And respite is where guys that's dealing with injuries could come and recuperate and rest in a safe place.
Y'all are doing a lot.
Man, we're doing a lot for the community. I say, in my opinion, that we're one of Wichita's best kept secrets.
Ooh, yeah, I want to doubt it.
Yeah, for sure.
So is there so your thing, what's the title of the business of where you work at?
You talking about the social enterprise?
No, it's Union Mission Rescue.
It's the Union Rescue Mission.
Union Rescue Mission.
Yeah.
So my question is there something else like you guys here in town?
No.
Wow.
There's nothing else like us to do what we do to the capacity that we do.
Yeah, that's a lot, man.
Yeah. However, there's other different types.
Okay.
There's humankinds.
Okay.
And they're next door to the Lord's Diner.
I got you, but they just don't do. They might do like some of what y'all do, but they just don't do.
They do a piece. They don't do the whole 9. Yeah,
Ooh.
For sure. And so back to the programs real quick, because somebody might be listening like, man, he got started on the programs and he didn't even finish.
Yeah, come on.
So I'm going to give you what you're looking for. And so we have respite, medical respite, which for guys that are homelessness, that get hit by a car or got diabetes or got some medical issue that they're dealing with where they just need time to rest and recuperate and figure out next steps. Okay. Then we got the Courage to Change, which is that 30-day program that gets extended on 30 days. And then we have a program called Solid Ground, which is our flagship program. So that's anywhere from 9 to 12 months. Yeah. And so in this Solid Ground program.
Yeah, talk about it. Let's go.
Yeah, for sure. So we hit on 4 R's. We hit on rescue, recovery, restoration, and re-engagement. And so we want to be able to
that's a process.
It's a process, right? It's a whole process because you're dealing with somebody's issues that got issues, that got issues, that got a family of issues, right? And so we want to be able to have a safe place for guys to come in and get rescued from the elements, rescued from their friends and situations, you know what I mean? Or rescue for themselves. Man, come on now.
Come on.
A lot of us need
Lord,
rescue
save
from
me
ourselves.
from me.
Man, please help me with my unbelief.
Yeah, come on.
Scripture. Come on now. And then after the rescue phase, they'll transition into recovery. So now we got you here. We got you in your right mind. Now you done made a decision to stay here and work on you. We're going to put some tools in front of you. We're going to put some people in front of you. We're going to put some process in front of you so you can walk this thing out. Right?
That's good.
Yeah. And so we want to help guys get down to their root issues.
Okay.
And so that recovery phase is 22 weeks. So it's an extended period of time where a guy could figure out what's really going on with him and what he wants to do.
So what's your position? You know a lot about what you do.
Yeah.
So what's your position there?
Yeah. So they hired me on as the employment coordinator.
Okay.
And then I got a promotion to the program director.
Okay.
And then I was telling you right before we started, God is pruning the organization. And so the director of operation resigned. And so right now I'm the interim director of operation.
Oh, come on.
Won't he do it? Yeah.
Come on,
we ain't going to
man.
even praise break.
Come on.
We could, though. Yeah.
That's awesome.
For sure.
That's a big deal. So is this, you're rooted into this heavy, right? Mm-hmm. Is this what you want to do?
This is what I'm going to do.
Okay.
This is what I,
because my next question was, what does Darnell's life look like in the next 10 years?
Yeah. This is my call.
Wow.
This is my call. And like I said, I traced it back to where I was 11, 12, 13 years old.
Yeah.
I always had a heart to help people. I always help people. I always help that aunt or that uncle in the family that everybody else shunned. Our house, I grew up in the hood, and my grandma used our house as like a beacon of light in the hood. And so the neighborhood drunk, the homeless, whoever was always at our house trying to earn their cigarette money, trying to earn their Coke 45 or, you know what I mean? Old English money.
Yeah.
And so I could see God's fingerprint and plan and breadcrumbs all through my life. And so I'm just a fish in water right now.
Come on.
I'm loving it.
Come on. Yeah,
I wake up and say I get to go to work.
See, that's when you know that you're doing what you're supposed to do.
For sure.
Your language starts changing, man. I promise you that.
That's it. That's it.
Language starts changing.
Yep.
That's awesome. Okay. So how long have you been married?
So I've been married, just celebrated 10 years.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
Yes, for sure. Thank
and
you.
we got something. Tell me what we got. We got little man.
Yeah. So
tell me about little man.
I got a 2-year-old son. His name is Azel.
Yeah.
Golly, it's so funny and it's so beautiful to be able to see a piece of you.
Yeah.
Yeah, a piece of you, and also a piece of your spouse. You know,
come on, yeah.
It's also beautiful to see how troublesome you were as a kid. You know what I mean? But it's also a great thing to see that I got a legacy, and an inheritance to pass down to him. Yeah. And so it's a beautiful thing, man. He loves music. His mom is a musician.
Come on,
and
man.
So he has every instrument at the crib. He loves to sing. He loves to dance. He's full of energy. You know, that's my guy.
That's awesome. That's awesome. He gonna do great things, man.
For sure.
He gonna do really great things. So, man, with all that being said, man, we talked a lot, man. And I do appreciate you about that, man. You dropping nuggets about really what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
So what's the next step for you? Yeah. And I know you said, you know, with your position and all that, but what's next for Darnell?
Yeah, man, what's next is actually what's present.
Ooh,
And what's present is that I must continue to draw close to God, you know, in a way that in a way to confirm what he's been speaking to me through years, right? And so we're in a transition. The church just closed. We found a new church. We're at
where you guys at right now?
Antioch Community Church.
Okay.
And you know, Antioch is the first church.
Come on.
You know, in Scripture. They do house churches. They do discipleship. They do missions. They do biblical relationship well.
Yeah.
And so that's good. But I'm also walking with a pastor. Shout out to my guy, Pastor Robert Loggins Sr.
All right. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And his ministry, and he's walking with me, man. And he's walking with me in a discipleship way and in a coach's way to get the best out of me, so I could die empty. And so what's next for me is just surrender.
Okay.
To continue to surrender.
He says, so I can die empty.
So I could die empty.
I love that.
For sure.
God, man, I love that.
I don't want no potential in my grave or in my urn. For sure.
I love that. Okay. So, man, that hit me in a different way. I don't think I've ever heard anybody say that. Man, that's powerful.
I stole it. I don't own that, but yeah, for sure.
Hey,
I gotta die empty.
I'm gonna take
you
that.
should die empty. You should want to die empty too.
So let me ask you this, man. I have to ask you this.
For sure.
The Lord just put on my heart.
Yeah,
I have to.
What's up?
So you know me, man. I record a lot of hip hop.
Yeah, man.
A lot.
Yeah.
For brothers who is listening right now to this.
Yeah.
What's the best advice you could give them in life? Because you came from it.
For sure. For sure.
Because a lot of these young brothers, older, but they still in it.
Yeah.
Some feel like they stuck in it.
Right. Right.
Yeah, man. What's some advice?
Yeah. So I'm gonna keep it short, sweet, and simple.
Come on.
It's something that you know that you need to hear, that you don't want to hear. And it's going to be complex, right? It's not going to be deep. It's going to be simple, right?
Okay.
Love God and love people. Straight up. That's the best advice I could give to you, is to love God and to love people, because everything else outside of God is not going to last and it's not going to work. You can't self-help your way to heaven. We are eternal beings. So you're going to either live eternally in hell or eternally in heaven, right? And so my heart, my soul, my desire for you as well as God's is that you get in a relationship with him and that you get to know him. And then that's when you get to experience your fullness. That's where your prosperity and your blessings come from. Now, don't give me, so let me kind of back up and pause because you get me in preacher mode.
I'm just letting it go. Just go.
And so I'm going to say this, and please leave the comments, and I'll let Angelo put my email, cell phone in the chat, whatever, and you could get a hold of me. I do believe in the prosperity gospel because the gospel is prosperity.
Absolutely.
Because God owns everything.
Come on, man.
He owns everything.
Come on, man.
And so why should I minimize him to some poor, poverty-stricken, messed up gospel? That's not the gospel.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so as God has put these talents and these gifts and these desires and these appetites in us, and we try to chase them and fulfill them and we yearn for them, we must do it in a relationship with him. That should be the context.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that goes to loving God. Go ahead and allow God to saturate your whole being, to get into that stanky attitude.
Come on.
Or that perverted perspective. You know what I mean? Or those unhealthy conversations that we have, or the lies of the enemy that tells you that you're nothing, or you're going to be like your daddy, or that you're not going to be anything. And we go all the wrong routes to fill those voids and try to tell those lies that they're not true, right? But when we surrender to God, you can't find God because he's everywhere.
Come on.
Yeah, you can look outside and look at the star.
There. Absolutely.
Look at the moon. Yeah, look at the sun.
Look at the trees.
Yeah, look at the trees for sure. And so,
hold on real quick.
Yeah, you good.
That light turned off. Give me just a second.
Boy, you got me on one.
Oh, man, I know. I don't want to. The whole thing came out the back. You remember what you were saying?
I do.
All right, go ahead.
Yeah,
that point again.
Yeah, and so we must surrender to God because he put so much in us. The psalmist said that he formed me in my mother's womb, right? And so God created you, regardless of how your perspective towards him is, or how hurt you've been, or how unhealthy human beings have been in trying to express his love to you.
Come on,
right?
man. Yeah.
God created you. He created you for a purpose. And once we decide to love him and love people, that's the best advice that I could give anybody.
Man.
You know, because it looks different for everybody.
Absolutely. That's powerful. I mean, we're going to talk about, man, the Conquer series, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's talk about that, man. So Darnell was led by the Lord, right? Handpicked, to teach a series. It's called the Conquer series, man. And it was something that he went through, that I went through as well.
For sure.
Life-changing, brother.
Life-changing.
The Conquer series is life-changing. So let's talk about let's talk about your involvement in that, because that was one thing that we both did at the same church, that we literally like walked side by side each other on.
For sure.
So let's talk about that.
Yeah. So the Conquer series, for those of you guys that don't know what it is, it's a biblical series that's designed for men struggling with sexual sin, right? Pornography, masturbation, whatever it may be, right? And the Conqueror series is exactly what the name says. The Conqueror series is a series that's designed to equip you and give you tools to conquer the lie and the plan of the enemy in your life.
Yeah, and you can Google it.
Yeah,
Google Conquer series,
Conquer series,
DVDs,
Conquer.com.
workbooks,
Yeah,
all of that.
For sure.
Yeah,
and those tools are out there, right? And so. As men, or as people in general, we isolate once we get in our mess, or once we get in our head, or once we get in our issues or in our inadequacies, right?
Yeah.
And what I enjoy about the Conquer series is it allows us to do it in community. It allows the camaraderie, allows the fellowship of the brothers to get together and say, yeah, we realize that we're not perfect, you know, and we want to we want to chop it up about our imperfections, but we also want to hold each other accountable with these tools that the series offers, you know.
Yeah.
And so it's a video curriculum, gives you daily accountability, and it gives you an opportunity to engage scripture and issues.
And not only that, man, the thing that I really liked about the Congress series is the information you're getting is from like super professional people, man.
Right.
Like you Google these people and
for sure,
man, their credentials are ridiculous.
Yeah. Their initials got initials.
Come on, man.
For sure. Yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up because it touches the natural and the supernatural simultaneously.
Yeah.
And it deals with the heart, but it also deals with the head and genetics and just the whole 9 yards.
It's a lot of, man, it's full of truth.
It is. Yeah.
And then they give you the biblical perspective, man.
For sure. You can't go wrong.
I loved it.
For sure.
I loved it. I remember calling Darnell and I was like, bro, I just bought the whole DVD
series. For sure. And it's not cheap.
No, it's not. For sure. It's not.
Yeah,
but it's worth it, man, for sure. For sure. So you're at what church? You said Antioch, right?
I'm at Antioch.
Are you serving right now in Antioch?
So organically, I'm serving.
Oh yeah, I understand.
There's nothing official, you know, and this is what me and my wife has been experiencing.
Because your wife is a praise leader.
Yeah,
she's not just a praise singer; she's a leader.
She's a leader. Yeah. Well, let's go a little deeper. She's a worship pastor.
Come on, man.
So she's a worship pastor, very sought after in the city. I specialize in restorative ministry, conquering issues, just like at the homeless shelter. And so people want us, and we've gone through the process of what does it look like to land.
Absolutely.
But for me, as the head of my household, I had to land in a place that's going to be beneficial to the entire family, not just me.
Come on.
Right.
Yeah. And that's maturity.
Yeah.
That's what that is. That's maturity.
Right. And so it came out smooth, but the process wasn't smooth.
I bet.
Yeah.
I bet.
And so we're there. And the number one thing is that we want to be able to create relationships with people. We want people to get to know us, and we need to get to know them. And then we have man's timeline. Once that timeline is up, or if God comes in and says, "Hey, now go," we're gonna go. And so for me, I got a heart for people. I got a heart for helping and serving, and I clean bathrooms.
Come on, yeah.
You know what I mean? I vacuum chairs or floors, whatever. That's gonna make the ministry advance or create a safe space for somebody to hear the gospel. And then once the Lord lets my wife loose, it's a wrap.
Game over.
Yeah, game over. Right.
Oh yeah.
Abigail Bryant is my wife's name.
Shout out to Abby. Man.
Shout out to my wife,
Abby.
man. Shout out to the wives out there.
Come on.
Holding us down because, you know, we all got issues and they take the brunt end of those issues.
Yeah.
So sometimes I'm just so grateful as I reflect on how my wife is so gracious in handling my issues and how strong they come off sometimes. But anyways, yeah, she's a worship pastor, owns her own private music studio, AB Studios. And
come on,
so
man.
if you need some vocal lessons, you know, she
plays
instruments
every
too, instrument, you know, man. She'll teach you what you need to know.
She's a music expert.
Yeah, she is
Straight
a music expert and she had a heart for the Lord. And so God uses her to usher people into his presence. Yeah, for sure. Yes.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome, man. I'm going to tell you this, man, from when I first met you, right, to where you're at right now. Man, just a lot of maturity, man, a lot of wisdom gained.
Yeah.
And I know that you've had a lot of brothers around you, right? But, I mean, I know a lot of people now who, they got a lot of people around them and they ain't moving, they ain't doing nothing with it.
Right.
You know, so really to want to advance, to want to change, to want to help, man, that's a blessing, bro.
It is.
And I feel like men don't say this enough to each other, bro. You are a blessing to the community, man.
For sure.
If you weren't here, let's keep it 1,000, man. If you weren't here, a lot of this stuff probably wouldn't look like what it is now. It might still be happening,
right?
But it might not. You know what I'm saying?
True. I hear what you're saying. Yeah.
So, like, man, of course, man, I thank God for you, man. But I also thank you for saying yes and willing to be molded and willing to go through the fire. Man, come on, man. I've been through it too.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So,
but that's key. We got to continue saying yes.
Yeah.
We got to wake up with a fresh yes.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And we got to say yes, especially when everything we know says say no.
Yeah. Come on.
Yeah. That's it.
Man, so with that being said, man, I'm good, man. I feel like I picture brain enough at the moment.
That's what's up. That's what's up.
So, man, go ahead and share this with somebody. Like I always say, man, go ahead, subscribe, like, share this with somebody. If you need to know how to get a Humble Greatness hat, there is going to be an Instagram down there. It's just at Humble Greatness Studios. Send me a message, man. I'll tell you how to get a hat. But with that being said, we are out of here. I have Darnell Bryant here on another episode of Humble Talks. Y'all take care.
For sure.